In 1992, pickup trucks were rapidly undergoing a paradigm-shifting metamorphosis. Well, not this one. The 92 to 96 Ford pickup was the third and final revision of basically an old Ford truck frame from 1980. And even when the guts of this truck were new in 1980, they weren't the most groundbreaking and certainly not the most car-like to drive. This particular truck drives like absolute trash. But if it didn't happen to be a sloppily lifted, worn-out four-wheel drive model with 300,000 miles on it, it would still pretty much drive like trash. And I say that in the context of this truck's biggest competitor, the Chevrolet, was all new and legitimately modern for 1988 or 9, something like that. Dodge came out in 94 with a highly modernized truck, and even Toyota put out the T100 during this Ford's tenure that likewise drove like a sports car in comparison. By the time Ford finally did make something modern in 1997, it was weird looking. And it ditched the tried and true Ford pushrod engines that were the greatest asset of Ford trucks in the first place. This was the last best Ford truck, in my personal opinion, and even then, only by the grace of resting on its laurels. The puzzling twin I-beam front suspension, which I guess makes some sense on a four-wheel drive model like this one, but I don't understand why they put it on the two-wheel drives, gives this thing the steering feel of a Roman ox cart. But the cool part is, it will change lanes for you, which is an option Tesla didn't come out with till 2021. It does look good, admittedly. The rugged box body two-tone truck is not going anywhere in the hearts of America, and all of the newer, better driving trucks that this thing was competing with in the 90s don't have the classic looks. And the V8 is like the center stone. This is the 302, it's the 5-liter. It's basically the mid of the three main engines Ford slapped in all its trucks for like 5 presidential administrations. Basically, you had the 4.9 inline 6, you had the 5-liter V8, 302, you had the 5.8, which was 351. And you can't go wrong with any of them. They are legitimately classic. These engines are, and I say that, and this goes for all American small block V8s, these are one of our greatest contributions to culture. And I mean that in complete sincerity. Like Van Halen, Levi's, everything that everybody associates with America for all the good reasons, pushrod V8s from the 20th century are right up there. I mean, first off, this engine has 300,000 miles on it. It sounds amazing. It feels amazing. It drives great. The power is good. It's compact. It's easy to work on. It's cheap to work on. It's not complicated. It's incredibly reliable. It lasts forever. Of all the stuff that I own, I don't even mind paying taxes on this. These 302s are a truly classic engine. As if any piece of automotive hardware is classic. And unlike with the Chevy, one important point of distinction is the 302 and the Ford, unlike the 305 and the Chevy, is probably the best bet for these because of the way that Ford and Chevy scaled their engine sizes, scaled their small block V8 engine sizes. Chevy scaled their small blocks by bore. And so for them, the 5.7, the 350 has a better bore-to-stroke ratio. It's a better overall engine. For Ford scaled their small block engines by stroke. And so actually for Ford, you wind up with a better bore-to-stroke ratio in the 302. And so Ford sold lots of 302s. They're real famous. Chevy sold lots of 350s. They're real famous. I guess the one modern thing about this truck, you could say, is that the four-wheel drive controls are electronic. So that's bad. Yeah, we would prefer mechanical for the reliability and the durability. Americans with Disabilities Act of 1997. And of course, just the mechanical feedback. But this truck has a push-button electronic front-wheel drive, four-wheel drive system. And yeah, car guys don't prefer that. It works! It works perfectly. It still does. Manual locking hubs. The four-wheel drive on this truck works like a charm. Like I said, 300,000 miles. So I can't knock it too hard. But yeah, we would prefer if this was like the Chevy still had a manual, shift lever. I think the Toyotas still had, I know the Toyotas still had a manual shift lever. Those companies all went to electronic later on in their lifespans, but Ford did it early and of all the things to modernize, Anyways, at the present time, the current market space, I do think that these 92 to 96 Fords in 2024, they make a lot of sense because they're surrounded by a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. Like the unloved 97 and up Fords and the overloved Chevy square bodies. These are a truck with solid fundamentals and durability. They are at the trough of their value curve, and because you're probably not buying these as a primary vehicle at this point, or if you are, you're probably a teenager who has no real perspective on how something is supposed to drive. These cars, their weaknesses in the comfort and the handling categories are probably, they just probably don't matter all that much at this point in time for the purposes that most people would be buying them for. So with all that being said, I honestly think that these are a good deal.
Quante luci l'autostrada, e tutto il resto lo sa Dio.